Hey guys. So I wanted to do a little review on gold because some of you guys have been asking about it and yeah, we've had this incredible run that has been quite spectacular. But now we're in the doghouse essentially with the move with the general, you know, the action has been kind of choppy and a lot of people are very confused about what's going on. So let's just make it a little clear here. So let's look at the run up on from pretty much December all the way to November. It was just a wild run. So let's look at this. This is the 4 hour chart on MGC, which is very similar to GC. But let's look at some of these runs here. I mean, it's just been absolutely, you know, major money for anyone who's been taking these trades, right? I mean, even on MGC, you're looking at, gosh, 9,000 bucks on even if you were to just play it till you got to change a character. I mean, 4,000 or 40,000 bucks on a single GC contract, right? So it's been a wild ride. So far, we've gotten some interesting moves here. We've gotten a trend line. You can see this is plotted with the MGC with the market structure indicator. We've gotten a couple measured moves. For me, this was kind of a warning. We got a retracement, trap, hit a trend line, and then we got a 50% retracement into the golden pocket, produced a really large short to get a continuation break of structure. We then we had this move, which a little dicey, but it hit its target. And then here, I was interested in this area. We had two potential areas of interest on the measured moves. We had a 618 here, and we had a 618 here, and those are based on the last two pivot highs, right? And so I was interested into seeing, would that actually come to fruition? We did get a nice trade down here on the lower time frames. This is the 4 hour, as I said. We got a little measure move here. So there was a little move, but generally this squeeze action is low volatility, right? So it's been a little bit difficult to trade. Your timing has to be a little more accurate. So we did get recently a bounce on this 4 hour fair value gap, and we are bouncing it at what it looks like a 618 right here. So anyway, the purpose actually of what I want to talk about is the market profile. So let's take a look at some action here. So one of the things that we have to look at here is context. Okay, GC, from what I know, is that the RTH session, the New York session, is usually not as active as the Asia session. So many people who trade GC know this, that there is a huge buyer in China, I believe, and there's been some great moves aftermarket. But nevertheless, we'll look at the profile. So this has been kind of interesting. This is the market. This is the order flow indicator, which includes the market profile, delta profile, volume, and depth, the DOM, and a few other things. But right now I've got it in, there's three modes. So there's footprint chart, there's TPO chart with VP, and then there's regular trading, like on a 5 minute, 2 minute, or 15 minute, which has cumulative delta, a delta profile. But this is for more larger time frame analysis. So one of the things is that this is the composite TPO, time price opportunity. So this is a rolling composite of the visible range on screen. So it tells you, it aggregates all of the TPO information and puts a value area high and a value area low. And, markets don't trend all the time. Markets trend maybe 30% of the time, except if you're the NASDAQ, it seems like it's every day, but generally don't trend. So in this kind of a profile, this is not a trending market. Okay, this is April. We're now in May, but I kind of wanted to show you a few things here. So one of the things that are very important are buying tails, single prints, and excess. And these are the aggressors. So you can see an example here. This is in the overnight. This is why we built we spent a lot of time building the overnight profile, because we wanted to see everything, especially in some markets like gold, where the overnight is important. This is RTH. And so let's look at this. So the first thing is that you have a selling tail here from April 8th. You can extend it all the way over here, right? To basically the beginning of the chart, right? And that's the nice thing about the TPO, is that you have all of this plotted and you can extend it. Me personally, I like to look at, I trade at these levels, value areas. Okay. I also trade at these levels, and I trade at these levels and these levels. That's where I like to do most of my trading, because you're probably going to get the most imbalance. In here, this is a lot of balance. Okay. And so one of the rules is that you have this is value in the RTH. And one of the general principles in TPO analysis is that if you come into a value area, right? Okay, a perfect example would be here. The idea is that if you come into value, there's a high probability, and you don't get an immediate rejection, there's a high probability you get to the other side of value. Okay? From value area to value area, right? And we actually got all the way past these three composite value areas, right? Just blew it all out of the water, right? Now, this was in the Asian session though. RTH actually had a much worse price action. Once you get this single print, this selling tail from April 15th, well, let's look at it. So one of the things that we can do is we can do letters, we can do a split profile. So on A period, actually, we got A period, B period, C period. So there was no extension at this point. So it went nowhere after opening up at such a potential breakout spot, right? We could have gone all the way up to extend, but we went nowhere. And so we can look at that on the 15 minutes. So this was April 17th. So we can look at it right here. April 17th. So this right here was a pivotal moment, right? Took it out, immediate gap down, right? Could not hold. That was a major moment, right? And then what happened the next day? Well, you got a down move followed up to a pretty much a picture perfect 618 retracement. Now, Here's a funny thing about this is that it says the risk was 1955, $1,900. I actually think that you could have risked a lot less than that. Um, you could have actually risked probably about maybe $100 on that trade. If you were to put your stop exactly up there, right, gave it basically no room. I mean, it was that perfect of a move. It's pretty amazing, actually. But yeah, that was a $12,000 trade that hit over, that was a one within a day, 12,000 buck trade, right? And then let's go to the next one, right? That was a, yeah, $11,000 trade. And that was not, um, it was, you didn't have to risk much. I mean, the precision on that 618 was just, I mean, just you're risking basically nothing. I think the risk here on the measure move is calculated one at the seven. I think it's the 78.6 around there. So the risk is a little bit higher, but we're just trying to be realistic. Anyway, yeah. So the risk actually could be much lower, but there you go. Right. So let's look at the recent action. Oh, not this chart. Let's look at the recent action. So this is as I said, selling tail, produce another produce a single print in that session, and look at what happens once it comes up to the single print, right? Just cannot get past this single print. And it just so happens that I think this was the 618. And the bearish action was here, where it does come into value, right? Comes up to the single print from the 17th RTH session. Immediate rejection, comes down to value, comes back into value, blows away the value area all the way down to value area low. So this is all taken out, right? So this is analysis, right? This is, and to me, this looks like a B profile, which is pretty bearish. We can open up a trade plan on this, which kind of gives you a little review of what actually took place in the session. I like this because it kind of has like a little bit of a deeper analysis of what happened in the session. Value or high, low. Yeah. Okay. So we've got, so it opened, yeah, and it was just chop, chop, chop. And then it left a single print here, I believe. Yeah. Actually, that's a tail. Looks like it. So, 5 rows. So it did get a buying tail early on in that session. So, but I think that was late. Had to say late in the session. Let's see here. So low made in mid session, migrated down. Yeah, migrated down 46 points, sellers building in that session. And that was this move right here. Below value, acceptance lower, bear leaning, right? Below prior value by 196 points. Okay. So bearish overnight, right? So this kind of gives you a little bit of analysis of just anything that, when I look at a TPO, I want, it's very specific things that I want to look at, but sometimes this reminds me of, because there's quite a bit to TPOs, right? So then let's look at some of the more recent action. So this again, okay, so it opens here on April 21st, immediately leaves a selling tail. Okay. So let's open up that. So yeah, right here, right? So these are aggressors. That's a warning, right? You don't want to see that if you're bullish. Okay. You want to see if selling tails come in, you want to see them immediately filled. Okay. Single prints as well. I mean, it opened here, closed here, like a single print and a selling tail in the same TPO. You get a retracement. Um, so you did, you know, as the rule states, that if you do come back into the value area, there's a high likelihood of going all the way to the end of value, right? So just, and there's also the 80% rule, which I think it has a minimum requirement of 1 hour where it opens in value, uh, opens above value and then comes back into value for 2 periods. Then there's a very high likelihood to go all the way down to the end, to the other side of value. Um, this right here, I believe we opened in value, right? Look at that. Not above value, opened in value, right? So you're thinking, hey, maybe there's a chance, right? Or right at the edge. Nope, rejected. This is more recent price action. Yeah, so sellers, this is kind of a balance area. But again, selling tails, they're not being filled. And you have the value area high up here. This is more of a balance range. Anytime it comes down below the value area low, it's a buy. Anytime it gets above the value area high, it's a short, right? So this is a balance area. Then I really liked this. So even with saying this, I was still a little bit bearish because of all the selling tails, right? They did not have, the buyers were just not here, had no interest in just cleaning up these auctions, right? Testament. I think they did come up to retest the April 23 RTH high, and then it produced a selling tail. And this right here was very interesting because I believe this was the beginning of the large down move. Yeah, so let's look at this. You had this move right here, IB high to IB high. And then this drop was immediate imbalances, right? So followed by back-to-back single prints, right? So you knew that there was a big move happening right here. A great short, actually. And, it's really about acceptance of value, right? They accepted lower prices in this balance area. They accepted a break of 46.83, right? The balance, as soon as this, this is a composite TPO, but still, right? It's general area. They accepted lower prices of this value area low, right? And that was the move, right? To get a nice short. Right here, though, my analysis is that we are building value. We are a little bit bullish right now. And I will say that this single print was tested. Okay. Finally got the retest. Value here. We've now got higher lows on the value area. Okay. So that's something to pay attention to. Right here, it was always just lower value. It was just could not hold any particular kind of value. So Anyway, that's my analysis so far. And I will say this, we have a trend line, right? So here's a couple trades. This was a $5,000 trade at the 618. This was another one, which I don't think hit target, but you know, it's yeah, that's still a pretty decent trade. Okay. And right here we're right at the 50%. So we've got this trend line. Trend lines are marked through this little option here, right? So you can turn them on and off in the market structure indicator. So yeah, so we've gotten some gaps, right? Fair value gaps. We've got aggression. So there is a possibility that we get a bit of a retracement here. I will say that just trading on the 2-minute time frame. Let's look at that. Okay, here we go. So 2-minute time frame, I just want to show you quickly, it doesn't need to be too complicated with the breaks structure, like just following breaks structures. We've got, just simply put, I mean, some of these trades, doesn't need to be too complicated. So we'll just do, let's just do this, right? Follow one trade. Let's say we get out here, right? Even if you didn't get it all. I mean, that's $2,000 trade. You could have taken that trade. I wouldn't with the VWAP and the RTH, but yeah, you could have taken that trade. Maybe you get stopped out. Let's see. Short. Okay, we'll do quickly here. So let's say that you didn't get all of it. Probably a scratch. Yeah, you probably got, okay, so you're out, you're done, $190, out 190, risk reward long. So let's do another one. Take that one. Didn't get it all. So, scratch here. All right. So you're out there. So you're out, let's say you're down 1,600. You take this. I mean, I'm just showing you how simple. It doesn't need to get too complicated, because we've got all kinds of things like measured moves. But let's say I don't want to put exactly the change of character, but let's say you took it here and you took the short. Target, let's say you just held till the end, which I don't recommend holding till the end of the day, but let's say you held it. I mean, $1,700, right? So still a profitable day, right? We've got a couple other things too. They're brand new. We've got a new Delta profile. You can see this, which is fixed. It's basically a fixed range rolling Delta profile. So it does 10 minutes intervals of the Delta, which I am very happy with. I don't use it on GC that much, but for NQ, it's amazing because it shows you the aggressors within the 5-minute window, as opposed to doing a full visible range, right? So this is everything, which I don't think it's useful, but it's not as useful as showing the immediate 5-minute window, because the 5-minute window, trading can change in a heartbeat. So I really like the fixed range on the 5-minute, which has been invaluable for just general moves. Like this move I thought was pretty nice. This was a 618. And if you wanted to wait till the aggressors come in, right? You're sitting here looking at the Delta profile. It's everything's blue. Then you see that, right? And so, that's $1,800 trade, right? Just based on proper, structure, breaks the EMA 200, gets below VWAP, you know, anyway. All right, guys, that's a little bit of analysis on GC. Hope you like it. Let me know if there's any questions. We'll be shipping out the new release with the fixed range Delta profile, which has been great. And we have a brand new feature, which is pretty cool, which is a full DOM, which I'm excited to, we're excited to release. We'll have that, you know, coming up soon. It's going to be in the latest release. It's not a full DOM where you can take trades from it. It's more of a DOM that you could have, you know, on your chart, and will give you it'll give you more information on the limit orders as opposed to market orders. So yeah. Anyway, excited about that. We're releasing that actually tomorrow. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any feedback. Thanks a lot.